What is good, mga insans? Welcome back to the Insans Out of Basketball, where we give you the latest NBA scoop and local basketball events here in Vancouver, Filipino community, basketball community, with Intan.
And Jello. Welcome back, mga insan, mga kababayan, Vancouverites.
Yeah.
Everyone here is welcome. For those who are new, again, don't forget to like and subscribe our podcast, our channel. Again, we talk about basketball, but we wanna bring up Vancouver and bring back basketball here in Vancouver. So yeah, we are Intan and Jello here. We're cousins. We are here in Vancouver, and every week we post a video every Friday, and we just talk about basketball, recent news, all that kind of stuff. And in the world of basketball, there's always so many things happening, and that's why we always start with our 24-second shot clock, which is again 24 seconds, just bringing in all the information in the past week. But for today, we'll be talking about a few things, and of course, we'll be talking about you know the NBA playoffs, what's happening with the two series. We'll talk about that today. We'll be talking also about the Vancouver Bandits, right? We're gonna extensively talk about them. Me and Intan were recently in the game, so we are excited to talk about them. And last but not the least is our young stars in the NBA. Will be talking about what would it mean to them to have the championship. All right, Intan, let's start with the 24-second shot clock.
All right, mga insans. Let's start this show with a bang. So without further ado, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Filipino basketball player Mikhail Malabuyak has officially transferred from the Vancouver Bandits to Simon Fraser University. Speaking of the Bandits, the Vancouver Bandits have kicked off their season with an impressive 3-0 record. To the NBA, SGA won the 2025 NBA MVP, becoming the first University of Kentucky player to earn the honor. And lastly, Nuggets guard Russell Westbrook announced plans to undergo surgery to repair two fractures in his right hand.
All
Oof.
right. Some big news there. And again, we encourage you
Yes.
guys to, dig deep to all of those news if you are interested in them. Again, for us, we just want to inform you on anything Vancouver, anything NBA related. Um Now we found that is spicy this week. And the first thing I want to talk about here in Tan is the Vancouver Bandits. And
Yes.
just from doing our research, finding out what about Vancouver Bandits, all that kind of stuff. And I guess I'll start. I'll start with how Vancouver Bandits was founded. So again, it was established back in 2018. They are a franchise in the CEBL League, or the CEBL, which is the Canadian Elite Basketball League, which is Canada's top professional basketball league. And again, they're aiming to basically grow the sport domestically here in Canada. And the Bandits, they've been competing in the CBL. There's about 10 teams, right, Intan?
Yeah,
And
very
again,
small.
they primarily and they operate during the summer months, right? So again, this is a great place for players who are trying to develop, who wants this to be kind of like a stepping stone to the NBA, or even if their NBA career didn't end or ended, they can go back to the CEBL, right? So Intan, let's break it down more on what you found here.
So yeah, basically the Bandits struggled in their first few seasons, and so they just started focusing on building competitive roster and developing local talent more than the imports. And we all know, or some of you might not know, but the league is allowing five imports from different countries.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, they still want to grow the sport domestically, but they want to um, import more players to improve the competitiveness of the league. So yeah, in 2022, we have been to the CEBL championship game for the first time. And so in recent years, we have been very, very well competing. And then last year, I believe we reached that championship game too, but unfortunately, up to this day, we still don't have
Yep.
any ring to show. But like we said there, like Kui said earlier, we went to the game, for their home opener game, and our team is stacked. Our
Our
team
team is stacked. I was about to say, like,
our team is looking like it's looking like the OKC of the league.
oh,
Let me just say that we are blowing teams left and right. I think we haven't been challenged so far this season. So I'm really hopeful for this season and hopeful for the future of the Bandits.
and definitely. And again, we started 3-0, I believe,
Yeah.
so far in the league. And just to give more emphasis on why we think the Bandits can win it this year. Again, last year they were in the championship. They were against Niagara, I believe is a team. From last year, they were in that championship. They played against the home opener against them. So you know that team is good. And they blow them out by almost 40 points.
Yep.
So me and Intan, we agree that this is gonna be a team that can go back to the championship. Again, we're gonna keep tabs on the Vancouver Bandits. We're excited. Again, this might be the OKC in the CEBL, right? I agree with Intan. And let's just talk about a few players, or maybe all of the players that we saw that were like notable players that I think will have such a great impact. Intan, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, one of the players that I really liked in the Bandits is Mitch Creek. So he's one of the
Shout out
import, yes, sir, from Mr. Aussie from Australia. So
Aussie,
he's a
Aussie, Aussie.
veteran swingman with a lot of international experience. He joined the Bandits for the 2025 season, but I'm pretty sure he joined the Bandits in previous years as well. So he has some experience in Brooklyn Nets in the NBA,
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota Timberwolves, and in Australia's NBL with and Turkey's TBL, which I know are very competitive leagues as well. So Creek brings a lot of experience, and when you watch the game, when you watch him, he shows the experience. He's very well composed. He knows what he's doing, and he's a great free throw shooter. But I mean, everybody's a great free throw shooter in the team. So
I think one of the things we said is Mitch was kind of like the glue guy, right?
mhm.
It felt like the game was smooth whenever he comes in. So for those who don't know, CEBL only has 10 minutes instead of the usual 12 minutes in the NBA. And I think whenever he comes in, it just feels more smooth, right? Everyone feels more connected. And I'm gonna skip through the other person, and I think I'm gonna skip through Tyrese. Like I'm gonna talk about Tyrese first because I think both Mitch and Tyrese, we saw that there's a connection, right?
Mhm.
And talk about Tyrese first, before we
Yeah.
talk about the other guy.
So Tyrese, on the other hand, he is a young guy. He's one of the bigger names that we have for this roster for this 2025 season. He's a 6'10" Canadian forward from Montreal, Quebec, and he joined the 2025 season. He's known for versatility, rebounding, and defensive prowess, and he has some collegiate and professional basketball experiences. This guy is one of the biggest guys I've seen in the league, and he reminds me a lot of James Wiseman. I think I told Guis when watching the game. He has a lot of potential, but he is still young and he can improve a lot. But he is a very exciting player, especially with his, like Guis said, with his ability to connect with our Mr. Aussie. So I'm excited for this guy as
Yeah,
well.
they have a really good connection. I can see how Mitch has kind of like be the veteran. So Mitch played
Yeah.
8 games last season actually
Mm.
with the Bandits, and he was basically, reassigned back to the Bandits this year. And this is gonna be exciting. I think this is gonna be important for Tyrese development. I guess we'll dive deep into that in the next couple of videos. But Tyrese, we saw that he was really good, like raw potential, and I think he has a lot of thinks he still needs to improve. I'll be the devil on this talk, but I think he was great. He was great watching him. I think second game he was the top scorer, right? But definitely needs some more polishing in order for us to win that championship in the
But
CEBL.
I think the league is not prepared for Tyrese because some of his dunks really
Ooh.
altered the the rings
Oh yeah,
during the game. So
so there, he
they
had a
had to
dunk,
fix the
right?
game.
Yeah.
They had to fix the rings a couple times. So
Yeah, yeah. I think the he had a dunk at the first quarter or something, and then during halftime there was a guy trying to bring out a
yeah.
a big ladder to fix it, but I think he was able. I think I don't know who jumped to the ring, but they were able to fix it without even the ladder. But that was crazy. It was a crazy game. It was a fun game. So if you never
It's a
watched
fun.
the Bandits, it's in Langley. It was very full, like the parking lot. Oh my god, that was crazy. I think it was a really nice atmosphere. If you've never been to any NBA games, I think you'll you'll definitely get the same vibe, right? Then
Yeah,
next,
yeah.
oh,
So
go ahead.
yeah, even though we said it's a really nice game, it's a blowout game. So a lot of blowout games are really boring, but they have this special rule in CABL where in the last 4 minutes or 2 minutes they kill the clock and they have this set score that you have to hit. So even though it's a blowout, you still have this score that you were waiting to reach during the final minutes,
Yep.
and so it's very exciting still, and it's very nice to reach that target score. So it's still, like I said, we are the OKC, so we're gonna blow some teams out, but there's still something to cheer on for the last few minutes of the game, even though we blow every teams out.
Yeah, that was very exciting. I think, like, the ending there and everything. I think the other team, Niagara, played some decent like defense at the end, which made it more competitive rather than watching like the last 4 minutes where I think it would have just been like boring. So I
Yeah.
think it was a
Another in a regular NBA game, people would have been gone.
gone, right?
The
And
traffic, yeah.
but again, you wouldn't see that on the NBA too much. A lot of the teams are like close.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
but
yeah.
again, like this is something that's if you never watched CEBL, it's definitely something that you should definitely look out for, right?
Yes,
Let's
sir.
talk about like two more players here, Dan. Kyle Mangas. When we were watching him, he's from the USA. Um, he was a shooter. Guy
Mm.
was a shooter and hustles really well. I think defensively you can see his effort. But Kyle Mangas was joined the Bandits back in April 2025 after playing in the NBA G League and in Europe. And again, you can see his offensive depth and skill during the game that we watch. And again, even I think last game actually he was their top scorer. He was top, for the Bandits. And I think he is definitely like another piece that was added that was like great for the Bandits and probably something that they needed. As Intan said, everyone was basically a 3-point shooter, but Kyle Mangas was kind of like your efficient guy. He would just, he was shooting it from threes. Like I
Yeah,
think there
it's a
was like, what
pure
is it?
score.
Yeah, he was a pure scorer. But again, his hustle on defense is something that was also like bring like fire to the team, right? Um, the last person here, Tan, is Tristan Jass. Do you want to talk about him?
Yeah, so
This
the
is a big
game
guy.
that we went to, he did not play actually, so we weren't able to see what he is able to show us, but he's one of the imports as well from USA, and he is a very exciting player. He is mainly just a social media guy and an entertainer, but he has some abilities, and that is very exciting for the teams and for the team, and especially for the league to have this kind of name added to the league. So we hope to see him play in future games, and I'm excited to see those tricky layups, trick shots, and whatnot. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
good.
If you don't know Tristan Jass, well, you're living in a rock first of all. But still,
Yeah,
like Tristan Jass, like during their preseason game, he played really well. We were hoping that we could see Tristan Jass in play, but I think he also will be he's a great addition definitely to the team. I think again the Bandits seems very stacked.
yeah,
Just watching all the games that we've seen so far, like the home opener and like some videos, like I think this is gonna be a team that's really stacked. And again, Tristan Jass will be a great addition. Also, on the arena, there was a few people like looking forward. They were shouting Tristan's name. So again, as Intan said, this is a great addition not just for the Bandits but also for the CEBL. league.
Especially when a lot of the audience are kids. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure
yeah.
they know him.
But
So
it was a very diverse group. I just want to say,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's the
yeah.
arena. It was families, couples, like
Adult.
adults, the kids. It was a very diverse group. It's a nice atmosphere. Again, that's why it felt like an NBA game. Because again,
You
like
get a free
NBA,
towel as well. So
and you
that's
got a free towel there, home opener. Let's
that's
go. But I just want to give some extra credit to the coaching staff. For those who've been listening, I love to give a good huge shout out to the coaching staff, to the strategy that's been implemented. I think there was a couple times where I'm just pointing out to intern, like, look at like that coach, like, and that coach was Kyle Julius. I know I was looking at his resume. He's a very stacked resume. Um, 2024 CEBL Coach of the Year, and they continue to develop the bandits with developing talent. They are fostering a very competitive team culture. So again, just even follow their Instagram. Like, it's a very, the team is something that you are gonna be afraid to see, right? In the playoffs and whatnot. And again, under his guidance, the bandits have been, again, a contender in the CEBL, right?
yeah,
Last
I
thoughts,
think
Stan. Last
yeah,
thoughts.
what I really like about the coach is he's really very communicative with
Yes, very.
if you make a mistake, if you do something good, if you want to explain something to you, you will see him like coaching ear to ear with the players. So I really like that, and I think he's a well respected person in that group. So I'm really also hopeful for the Vancouver Bandits. I just wish that they don't do the fire thing every time we score. Maybe just with the special stuff happening. So just a little note there. That
Yeah, yeah. I see. I see what you mean. It was definitely something that was like crazy every time you
yeah.
score.
Let's not spam it too much.
Too much spamming. Too much spamming.
But
But
it's good that
overall, it was a great
it's
game.
nice to
Overall,
see. Yeah.
yeah, it was definitely a great game. Definitely gonna be coming back for more.
Yeah,
Um,
hopefully we'll go there in the playoffs. See them the intensity in the playoffs.
yeah. But again, shout out to everyone in the Bandits team. Shout out to all the players. And again, you guys are building a really, really great team and a really great atmosphere. And we're all excited here in Vancouver. Me and Intan are excited. So yeah, keep supporting the Bandits.
Let's go.
So now let's talk about the playoffs, Then Let's talk about Minnesota and the OKC. Did Minnesota just get lucky to reach the Western Conference Finals?
Oh man.
Let's break it down, right? So
Yeah.
the score right now is 3-1, 3 for Thunder, 1 for Minnesota. We've had a couple of games that we thought, me and Ita were messaging each other. I'm like, is this gonna be 3-0? We need to talk about this team now? First game, Thunder convincingly win 114 to 88 against Timberwolves. Again, it was a home game for the Thunder, so it was not as surprising.
Hmm.
But second game, they also didn't put up a fight. It was a 118-103. Yes, it's not a huge blowout, but you can see that, you know, Minnesota still has no answer. Game three, they were mad. The Timberwolves were mad.
Yes.
And they also had a blowout game, 143 to 101. So that's where they got their first win. It was again Timberwolves home court. But game four, you can see that changes were made in both sides, and it was a tight game, right? I think from start to finish, basically. And of course, Thunder you know, went ballistic because of SGA, 40 points, 9 rebounds, 10 assists, Mr. Almost triple double. Jalen Williams with 34 points, Chet Holmgren 21 points. So again, big addition from their starting five there. But I Intan here, like I want to get your reaction on how Julius Randle and Anthony Edwards played, because they only combined for 21 points, right? Again, Chet Holmgren had 21 points, and
Yeah.
you're saying to me that Julius Randle and Anthony Edwards only had 21 points combined?
Yeah. The good thing about it, if you are the Timberwolves, you only lost by 2 points. your two best scorer did not play well, but you only lost 2 points. So there is like if you wanna still put up a fight for next game, you have to look for these positives. And I think that's one positive is that they only lost 2 points. It's a very competitive game, meaning losing by that amount, you have a chance to win. It's a 50-50 if who's gonna win the game if it's that close. So I think they have to look at it that way for the next game, even though that their two best scorers struggled. So I think, yeah, I think Anthony Edwards, like all the announcers have said, he has to be more like focus on driving more. Like he did that in the fourth quarter, but it was a little too late, and he didn't do it a lot than what the team needed. And I think on game three, he was doing it a lot more. There was more intensity with him driving inside the paint. So I just think the Thunder planned for him, and they were collapsing on Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle every time they touched the ball. So they planned it really well. And I remember when the Lakers actually did that on the first round, they were successful.
Mm-hmm.
They were successful for only one game, and Anthony Edwards was able to watch the film and figure out what they were doing. And I think they Anthony Edwards has a chance to make a comeback for the next game, but the Thunder's players are much more different than the Lakers players. So it's gonna be hard, and it's gonna be exciting to see what it's gonna look like. But I think the
No,
Timberwolves,
it's over. It's over.
yeah, the
I'm gonna finish it
Timberwolves
off. It's over.
got
I mean,
here by
it's a
fighting old
gentleman's
guys and injured guys.
sweep.
Yeah,
Right? 4-1. I thought you're gonna ride the train with the Timberwolves there, but it's four
no,
one. I think it's 4-1. We're going back home to OKC. We're gonna see OKC in the championship here. But I just want to say, like, we talked about it the past couple of podcasts. They need to figure out this turnover, right? Like that last game was stupid. How much like turnovers they had. Right now, in terms of turnover, Timberwolves have 18 average all throughout the 4 games, and then Thunder only has 12. Right? It's a difference about 10 points on those points of turnover, which is a big thing. And they need to clean that up. They haven't cleaned that up.
mhm,
And again, yes, you could say that Anthony Edwards needs to be aggressive, but OKC had the depth, man, compared to the Lakers. They can
yeah,
literally pull 1 to 12 to Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle, and no one will get tired from the OKC side because they were defending well. This is what they've been doing for 82 games. And that's why they were number 1 seed
yeah,
because everyone will step up to defend, to play offense. But they know that if they brought in and they know that they have to guard Anthony Edwards or Julius Randle, they were bodying them. They were physical with them. And that's why I think it's going to be 4-1. Like,
yeah.
again, they're
I
going
think
back
so.
home. They're going back home. But let's play the other side here. What do they need to do? What does Minnesota? Again, we said let's limit the turnovers. Let's have Anthony Edwards play more aggressively, or even Randall needs to play more aggressively. But what else? What else do they need to do as a team in order for them to at least have a fighting chance?
Yeah, so when we talk about Timberwolves turnover, it's also important to know that Thunder is actually one of the best turnover makers in the league. So it's not their full fault, but they have to do better. Like you said, turnovers really sway momentums in during the game, so it's important to keep those low. But I think they have to. The Timberwolves need to also play more of their bench. We saw Nikhil Alexander playing big minutes.
Amazing last
Yes,
game.
amazing shooting performances from him, and then Dante DiVincenzo. Maybe Anthony Edwards is showing some fatigue, so maybe it is time to put more minutes from those guys who have shown like really valuable minutes, especially that rookie who I am kind of forgetting right now, but
From Minnesota.
yeah, that lefty guy,
I forgot his name
big
too.
body guy, yeah.
But I just want to point out another name here, Rudy Gobert.
Mhm.
Like this guy's the biggest guy on the court, and he can't do. He's getting outbodied by Isaiah Hartenstein and Shed Holmgren. Like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing here? Like, we're paying you so much money. Like, all again, the team needs to overall do better. We
Yeah.
know
But
that
let me add to the Gobert a little bit more. This is why I was mad that he was having those games during the Lakers because he is not that
he's
good.
not that
Like
guy.
I feel like he's getting exposed now with better players, so I'm just happy that to see Minnesota losing after they dismantled my Lakers.
I did dismantle my Warriors too, so I'm mad too. But I think we've really said it all. I think this is gonna be a
And also
gentleman.
one big addition to that Thunder win is Jalen Williams actually playing well and showing up, especially Chet Holmgren. So I think even though it's completely in Thunder's favor to win the next game, Jalen Williams still need to show up because SGA can't do it by himself, especially when Minnesota is focusing on him.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
And I think we're gonna see OKC here in the championship.
Mhm.
Let's talk about the other side. Let's talk about the eastern side of it. The Knicks and the Pacers. Are the Knicks ready to flip the script and take control against the Pacers?
Nope.
So Intan, it's 2-1. It's 2-1 in Indiana. I think right now when we're recording this, they're having their game. Um,
It's 3-1 now.
it's 3-1. Oh, it's over. Another gentleman sweep here. But let's talk about some facts here. What happened? Why is it 3-1? Again, game one here. Pacers they overcome another deficit. They basically had a 14-point deficit in the final minutes of the game, and they still win. We had some historic runs here. Game two, Pascal Siakam was a big um, factor to that. Played 15 of 23 on shooting, 39 points. Jalen Brunson played well, but that was not enough, even though he's Mr. Clutch. And then game three, again, same thing with the other side. Like the other side played well. New York Knicks played well. Carl Anthony Towns led in the fourth quarter, right? Really, really big game for him. Scored 20 of his 28 on that fourth quarter. OG Anunoby was also big, both offensive and defensive side of things. And then Pacers struggled in their 3-pointers, right? Again, we don't have the stats for game four, but as you said, Intan, it's 3-1. What do you think? Is this over? Are I don't think they're gonna flip the switch or the script here.
Yeah, when I wrote the script, it was before the game. It was still 2-1, and I really thought that Knicks had a really good chance to steal another home court from the Pacers, but it's looking like a gentleman sweep. Even though, you can say that, oh, they're going back to New York. It's their home court. We know how the fans react to the Knicks. Pacers won the first two home games. They have proven they do not care about those fans. They do not
Mm-hmm.
care about the home court, the history. They're gonna go there and finish the New York Knicks on the next game. And I am very disappointed, especially watching this game. There were too many turnovers for the Knicks. They couldn't stop the Pacers' pace, and yeah, it's over. I think it's over.
Yeah, and just to point out in this fourth game here, Tyrese had a triple double, 32 points, 15 assists, and 12 rebounds. Also, Pascal Siakam with 30 points, which is a big thing. And I just want to say here, 12 minutes, Benedict Mathurin, 12 minutes, 20 points.
Yeah.
And Pacers won by 9. So these are big minutes. These are amazing minutes for our Benedict Mathurin. I have a high hopes for him going into the season. Hopefully, again, he can prove himself more this next season. But at the same time, he's proving himself already by doing so. The other side, though, with Knicks, Jalen Brunson, 31 points. Karl Anthony Towns, 24 points. OG with 22. Again, these are big, big, scores from all of these guys that can prove themselves. But again, they don't have enough. They don't have enough against the Pacers. And again, this is one of those things where depth really shows up, right? We can see it with OKC and Pacers now that if you have enough depth, if the 5, 6 guys that you usually play don't play well, suddenly you have this next man, what do they call it? Next man up mentality,
Mhm.
where they know they just show up for this one game, they can prove them to the coach, they can prove the whole league that they are worthy of those minutes too. And again, this is it's showing up right now that this Pacers player or OKC players, they are willing to get that next one up. And again, Knicks doesn't have enough, man. They basically have 5 players, and those starting 5, by the way, just want to point out, they had a negative, positive, minus. For those who don't know what that is, it's basically if they're in the court, are they playing well? Are they scoring more than the other team? And the starting 5 for Knicks were negatives. They had to make changes, right? Dan, do you want to expand on that a bit?
Yeah, before I expand on that, I also want to add that even though the Knicks is looking like their season is over, it is nice to highlight that Jalen Brunson has been playing well for the Knicks. He has surpassed Patrick Ewing for the most 30-point playoff games in Knicks history, which is remarkable because Brunson joined Knicks in 2022 while Ewing played like 15 seasons for them. He also is the only player other than Michael Jordan and LeBron James that has more 35 point 10 assist playoff games in Eastern Conference history. But yeah, I think Thibodeau is known for his very stubborn strategy where he plays all his starting players, the whole game.
Basically, yep.
And the game that they won, he actually made some changes. I believe Mitchell Robinson played in the starting lineup, right?
Yep, yep.
So he also played some considerable minutes for Shamet and
McBride.
yeah, and then I forgot this DeLon Wright, their guard, one of their defensive guards. But and in that game they won. And in this game, the fourth game, I think they needed to play them more. The only actually reason, or maybe the majority of the reason why he played those guys more than they are playing is Brunson is actually in foul trouble that game. So that could be had some impact with their minutes and not even Thibodeau changing his strategy. So
No, he's not gonna change strategy. And again, it was just the foul trouble. I just think there's gonna be some big changes here going into next season. We're already writing them off. Hopefully, we're wrong. I want to see some more exciting games. I think we both told in this podcast we want to see more exciting games. It's not about, yes, we both have our teams that we want to watch, but we like to watch exciting games. And right now, it has been exciting, might I say. All of these games have been exciting. But again, another gentleman sweep, which is crazy. I feel like the past couple of series have been like up to game 7, but again, we another gentleman sweep here.
Mhm.
Done.
Yeah.
So let's move on to our next topic. Let's talk about our last topic here. We have 4 young superstars here in the last 2 series. What does it mean to win the championship, the chip for these 4 superstars? Right? Again, I'm calling them superstars now. I think they're superstars in their own um, team. So we have Tyrese Halliburton by the Pacers, Jalen Brunson by the New York Knicks, Anthony Edwards of the Timberwolves, and last but not the least, our MVP for this year, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Right? In their own right? I think they all deserve to win. Let's just say that. They all deserve to win the championship. Although, as of this recording, their teams are either winning, their teams are either losing, but we can't write them off. They still have a chance. They still have a fighting chance. But what does it mean for all these players? Then let's start with you. Let's talk about the Pacers first. Again, they're winning their series with 3-1. What does it mean for Tyrese Halliburton?
Man, Tyrese is a special player. For those of you who don't know, he was the 12th man of the Team USA. He is the most overrated NBA player in the NBA
Apparently.
by voted by his peers, which probably meant a lot for him. And in that USA team, he actually didn't, or maybe even played very little minutes in that team. So it will mean a lot for Tyrese Halliburton because basically the whole league counted him out, counted their team out. So I think it will validate his growth despite his early setbacks. He entered the league with a high potential playmaker, but faced challenges. He started with the Kings. They drafted him even though they already have De'Aaron Fox. And during that time, the Kings actually had to make a decision. Are we going to build through De'Aaron Fox or Tyrese Halliburton? And they chose De'Aaron Fox. They didn't think Halliburton had that potential in him. And when he went to the Pacers, he took over, he led the team, and basically showed all the capabilities. He's been leading the league in multiple seasons, high number in assists. He's one of the best playmakers in the league. And it's so funny because the player the Kings wanted to build around is also in another team to San Antonio Spurs. So that says a lot about the organization
Organization, yeah.
more than Tyrese. So yeah, he is gonna prove himself as a franchise cornerstone and he is going to be rewarded as a team first mindset. He plays for his teammates, and one of the things he said is that he is happy that the team actually kept their whole roster. They did not make a lot of changes. They did not trade any of his teammates, which shows a lot of like his team first mindset, and also that shows a lot of their chemistry, why they're winning a lot in this game. So I'm really happy for Tyrese Halliburton, but also Pascal Siakam and the whole other players in the team.
Yeah. And definitely, I think Tyrese definitely deserves it, especially, going into their second year in the Eastern Conference Finals. They didn't get it last year, didn't win it against the Celtics, but it's their year now, right? It's weird to start with a team that will righteously deserve it, but I'll be the devil's advocate here. I'll be the bad guy here. Tyrese doesn't deserve it yet, just because I think there's other players that deserves it more. Um, and even though they're only winning by one, I think Jalen Brunson does deserve it more compared to Tyrese Halliburton. I just think that this guy, even though this series, I think they were the underdog like Pacers are, I think Jalen Brunson, as his career has been growing, he is the underdog. And again, he was very underrated. Um, and he was undrafted, right? I believe. He was not a top pick. Um, and again, he was just a role player from Dallas Mavericks when he was drafted, and now look where he is. He is now basically a star. Um, in New York, he basically didn't want the high money. He doesn't want all the money. He wanted to give out those money to the other players so they can build a better team, right? And that's what they had did for this season. And again, Jalen Brunson is trying to prove himself, right? Like the same thing as Tyrese, but again, Jalen Brunson is a little bit older. I think he needs to bring back the winning in New York Knicks, and again, I think it's gonna be more fun to see New York win, just compared to Pacers. But again, that's just my personal opinion. What do you think, then? Do you think Jalen Brunson deserves it more than Tyrese? Just looking at the Eastern side of it.
It's hard to say it's hard to pick between any of those two because those two players deserve so much more from what they have experienced in this past few, years in the NBA. But Brunson really deserved it too. He wasn't a high draft pick. He was like a second round pick. He was living under the shadow of Luca. He's like
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't that important to the Dallas. He even wasn't asking that much from the Dallas Mavericks when the during that free agency where he went to New York, but the Dallas didn't choose to pay him just a little bit more than what they wanted. And now, like you said, look where he is. He is a star, and when he's not living under the shadow of Luka Doncic, he is rising in the New York Knicks stadium. So he deserves a lot of it as well. But I think Tyrese Halliburton, from what he's been through, what he is going through this year, from all the names that he's been called, he deserves. He's been playing well. He has some down games, but he's been playing well. He had won a lot of games. They are both clutch players, but some of the games that Tyrese Halliburton played, some of the buzzer beaters are just insanely exciting. And so
Yeah.
I think since they're winning now, it's more likely that Halliburton is gonna get his flowers for this season. So I give my flowers to Tyrese.
Can't disagree. Can't disagree. But again, New York is gonna stand up. I think we're gonna put some fight more into this series, and I think Jalen Brunson is gonna again. He has to prove himself, right? He has to prove himself. Yes, he's been doing a lot for this team, but he has to do more. Um, but yeah, let's go to the West. I think these two really deserve it more. I think in terms of not even these two, I think their teams deserves it in a way. We'll talk about that a bit here, but let's talk about Anthony Edwards first, right? Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves. What does it mean for them? Again, this guy still young. I believe he's 23.
Hmm.
Um, he's still a raw talent, I believe. And again, Edwards came into the league with his athleticism, and he's been growing. He's been maturing throughout these years. And again, he's had a lot of criticism on how he plays. He's had a lot of questions, and especially on the defensive side of things, the decision making that he does. But I think this championship would validate that, would basically prove the doubters wrong that, hey, I'm the guy. I'm the guy with this Timberwolves. I'm gonna bring this this franchise with me. I believe he has more or even same amount of wins as Kevin Garnett
Mm.
in the Timberwolves uniform. So that says a lot about how he's been brought up. If you've seen some clips, he's basically been a leader, even though he's not, the veteran. He's been acting as a leader, telling people that, hey, you're not doing things right. Um, and again, this guy is a superstar, and it would basically cement him as one of those best players in the Minnesota uniform, right? But Intan, SGA, why do you think he deserves it more than Anthony Edwards? And again, they're 3-1. They're up by 3. SGA's team.
Yeah. So Mr. MVP himself, SGA, I think he deserves some flowers too. He finally won an MVP after being in the running for a few seasons now. And like Tyrese, he was traded as well. And he was traded from the Clippers. So when the Clippers was thinking of winning championship now, they thought of getting Paul George from the OKC instead of building with Gilgeous-Alexander, and they shipped him out. And it's funny because the Clippers didn't really went anywhere. Meanwhile, when he got traded, SGA, when he got traded to OKC, he shocked everybody. He even shocked me. I didn't know he is that caliber of a player.
Yep.
He is MVP, scoring leader in the NBA type of player, and he took his teams multiple times far in the playoffs. So I think he deserves it too. He's proving leadership on a big stage. Like I said, bringing his team to playoff runs. And he has a lot of naysayers. A lot of people say that he is a foul baiter, but it's part of the game, you know. If you reach, you teach, you know what I'm saying? So it's not totally his problem. Maybe it's how the system works is the problem. So there should be a
One
change
could argue. Yeah.
rather than him exposing the system. So we've seen James Harden do this as well, but unlike Harden, SJ actually went far in the playoffs and they have a great team. You know, it's hard to deny that SGA is not helped by a lot of people, but SGA still showed that he can be one of those players. You know, we've talked about being face in the league. Anthony Edwards did not want it, but SGA seems like if you don't want it, I'm gonna grab it.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm gonna be the scoring leader. I'm gonna be the MVP. I'm gonna take my team as far as I could in the playoffs. So I think he deserves his flowers, and I think it's gonna be this year that he gets his chips too.
So now we've heard that all of these things, all of these players deserve it more. This player deserves it more than the other. But I think the other question here is which team deserves it more,
Mm,
right? It's definitely a question that I've been fostering looking at all the star players. Yes, one player could easily bring that championship to this team, but I think when looking at it in terms of, as you said, Intan, like being the face of the league, but what would be better for NBA? I think it's definitely the OKC. I
mhm,
think it shows so many things, right? I can point out a few things here, right? Better if you have a good management, you'll get to that point, right? In terms of back end, if you have a good chemistry as a team, you can get to this point.
mhm.
It will show the league, right? Rather than, hey, let's keep trading all of our players and all of these picks to get like a superstar team to get to this point. It will show the
To the
league.
Lakers.
Yep, exactly. Right? I'm not saying that the other teams will not be able to prove it. I think Pacers can also give that same um, you know, agenda per se. But definitely OKC is one of those teams that I think will can prove it, especially they have the MVP now. Again, with SGA now just going back, it will definitely prove it. It will cement him as one of those MVP that deserves it, right? Because I feel like every year we talk about it. Oh, this player deserves more than this player, kind of thing. But it was somewhat cemented that hey, SGA really deserves it, right? Because again, we had some great players this season too. We have again the running Jokic and Giannis. I could argue too that they could have won it, but again, this will cement his MVP award this season,
Mm, Yeah.
right? Then
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Thunder is gonna be more likely the favorites for this year's championship, but I think to me what I want to see to win who I want to see to win the chip this year is actually the Indiana Pacers. Even though time and time again I've said the Thunder is probably gonna be the team. I think it's just gonna be funny because Pacers is a offensive heavy team, and what do people say? Defense wins
yeah, every
it's gonna be
playoffs.
so funny when the best offensive with very decent defense wins this chip. It's gonna change a lot of mentality in NBA. We're gonna see a lot of changes. We're gonna be seeing a lot of copying from other teams. So I thought that's just funny if the Pacers win because that's gonna prove a lot of traditional mindsets that has been going around the NBA for so long. So we'll see. I'm not saying they have a bad defense. They have very good defenders as well, but they are a offensive heavy team. And if they end up going up against or they ended up going to the finals, it will be exciting actually to see the best defense in the league in OKC
OKC, yeah.
versus the probably the best offense in the league in Indiana. So.
Yeah, I just want to point out too with Pacers, they have Rick Carlisle. Um,
Mhm.
he brought the 2011 Dallas Mavericks team, I believe, a Cinderella story, which again, it will again prove that thing where an underdog can basically win a championship. But I guess the other question here too is which team really needs to like have this championship? Which team out of this four teams, which team needs to have it, or else major changes needs to happen? Again, we've talked about off season, all that kind of stuff. Which team really deserves this championship in order for them to not blow up this whole team? What do you think, Intan?
I think for desperation, I think the team is no other than the Knicks. The other teams they have a lot of young talent, so they can rebuild a little bit and focus on the next seasons. They have a big window, unlike the Knicks, who has some very injury prone players, very aging stars. So
Tom Thibodeau.
yeah, Tom Thibodeau is in the hot seat with this very stubborn strategy. So I think to me they are the most what do you say?
I think they desperately need this.
Yeah, they're
I
gonna be the
think
most desperate team to
New
beat.
York Knicks, Tom Thibodeau, Jalen Brunson,
Especially in
all
that
of them,
market. Yeah.
they deserve this championship because they're gonna blow up this team if they don't, right? Again, they as much as they would want to keep this, nothing's gonna change. Again, it's like keep trying, and nothing's gonna change, right? They tried it basically last year. We've seen it with Tom Thibodeau, with Derrick Rose, how would that become, right? So I think Knicks really deserves it. I agree with you, Tan. The other team that I think also needs to somewhat prove it is the Pacers. I know we've been giving some flowers to our Pacers here, but again, this is their second year going into the Eastern Conference. Yes, Tyrese is happy that basically the whole team hasn't changed, but if you haven't won a championship after your second year and you have a few contracts expiring, you're going into this next season with a lot of changes into the contracts and all that kind of stuff. And they're also a team that deserves it to win it, or else they're gonna blow up this team, right? Um, Again, both the players, both the coaching, there's gonna be some significant changes in those two teams, I think. Um, just because Eastern, yes, it's not as competitive as the West, but at the same time they know they're going to have a hard time against the West players going into the championship, because again, a lot of these teams, they want to win a championship, not just be a good regular season team, right, Tan?
It's not just reach the finals. You wanna win the championship as well against the
Exactly.
Western Conference team.
Unless they're happy with that, then it's just keep your team then. But I honestly think both these Eastern teams deserves this championship, just because, well, things are gonna be a lot of changes are gonna happen. um Shams recently had press conference kind of thing, and showing like all the trades, potential trades, and this this offseason is gonna be a big offseason, right? We might not have a lot of those big names as the LeBron, the Currys of the world. Well, Kevin Durant is there, but this is gonna be a very interesting offseason with these four teams, especially. So let's just see where this all goes. But I think, Tan, we both know they all deserve it. All the superstars deserve it. So any final thoughts for this pod, for this video?
Oof. Just excited to see who's gonna be the teams. I guess it's almost finalized now, but it's gonna be exciting to see how they're gonna match up against each other. So, like we've been saying, if you haven't been watching the NBA, if you're busy with work, busy with life, it's a good time right now. Still very exciting games, and also support the Vancouver Bandits.
Yes,
They
sir.
have a lot of games. I think every season they have like around 30 games or 20 something games.
20 games, yeah.
Yeah. So let's support locally and show the NBA that we are ready for this market. We are ready for another team. Let's bring the real Grizzlies back to Vancouver.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So again, maraming salamat. Thank you, mga insan. Thank you, mga kababayan. Thank you for everyone who's watching our pod. We've been enjoying this time. I've been enjoying this time,
Oh, yes,
but
sir.
I think this is a bit of fun. And again, I hope we get more people here who will be part of this journey with us. Thank you, mga insan. Ano mga sinasabi natin nito, Intan, sa ating podcast?
Yes, sir, mga insan. Don't forget to subscribe before we go. Hit that subscribe button like our moms and dads used to follow us, okay? But with that being said, instance out.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.